All in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Okay,
Oops.
next one is
You had a question,
infrastructure.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
I just wanted to know, out of curiosity, according to what we're talking about with tires, is there not a recyclable or repurpose program anywhere near us? Has this been talked about before?
Not,
Are we
not
just
in,
throwing
not
it
in
away?
regard to tires, no.
So no one here does anything like that? Okay.
No.
No, I have property in Canada and they have that, so I was wondering if we had that as well. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so
I'm
this
feeling
next
it.
one has already started.
Yeah.
Started videoing it, 5:29,
Okay, I'm going to
6:29.
call to order the Infrastructure and Property Committee meeting. Roll call is Robbie Carmichael.
I'm standing in for Robbie.
Oh, Paul Galvin is here for Rob. Paul Rabs?
Here.
Peter Stewart's here. First thing is bids to purchase map 47, lots 7 and 8.
There, if you remember when we went through our foreclosure process, there were a number of lots that did not receive any bids through our process. And two of those lots were map 47, lots 7 and 8, which are two small camp lots on the Orrington line that have very difficult access. And so, per the council's request, following that, we have reached out to abutters to these properties and seeking bids. And the town received two bids from the abutters on this. You have the information in there for both of these, Jack Ann Schley and the Jamesons. You also have in what's outstanding in taxes that have not been paid since 2011. But the high bid for the two parcels is Jack Ann Schley and Deborah Lee Madsen, who are one of the abutters, but you also have the Jamesons who have submitted a bid as well. But those are the two bids for these lots.
By reading these, are we going to mess with these, or is, I mean, are both these people able to buy them? Because reading Jameson's, it sounds like it's...
According to our assessor, both parties have a means of access to these lots. And the Schleys would go across one lot to the other, but part of their property abuts that, because I asked that question.
Okay. So all we're doing is a quick claim deed, and everything's good, and we get rid of it.
We make no guarantees in selling property other than the town's claim on it is extinguished. It settles the tax issues that are related to it, and anything as far as getting a warranty deed becomes the responsibility of the buyer.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anyone here to speak that has any.
Anybody on the council, anything different? High bidder? Anybody from the public here, and any of these folks here? No?
Did the bids meet or exceed your
I
expectations?
don't even,
They're $2,000 higher
I
than
don't even
what's
see a
owed
bid
on
from the
taxes,
James.
so
Yeah, so the year on the bottom,
Yes.
5,000, the bottom of the bottom.
more than.
hey, tracking.
All right,
Got
so we
it.
recommend to sell to
For 50.
Schley, I believe, the high bidder.
Mhm.
Yep. For,
All right, next one is request to purchase map 52, lot 20.
Eric and Laura Borges have sent a a request to see if the town is interested in selling a piece of property that it owns on Long Pond, map 52, lot 20. If you remember, we talked about
This was
this.
the one that several people were interested in, correct?
That they were back then, yes, and at the time, the council was concerned that if it sold this lot, it would have
Give
no,
up its rights to the
it would have no access to Long Pond. And the difficulty with that access is that the access to the water access is in contention, because that it wouldn't afford itself public access with any ease, and there's not enough. And the second issue is that it's extremely shallow, so it would not be a good location even if the town had the ability to get people there to launch a boat or to do those kind of things, because it's extremely shallow. But at the last time we went through this, we looked for other land on Long Pond or
Right.
that tributary to it that might provide public access, and we weren't able at that time to. There was a lot that we looked at that somebody else bought.
Right.
So Mr. and Mrs. Borges are here. They can explain it.
Okay.
I've explained all that I know about it. They can explain
So you
whatever.
guys have lot 16? Is that what I'm gathering?
That's correct.
Is that the lot right next to it? Or,
It's basically all around.
Can you come on and read up to the microphone, please? We're on TV, so
Really?
Yeah, we,
state your name for us, please. Roy.
Eric Borges, and my wife and I own map 52, lot 16, which we bought from Bonnie and Klein, and it's 16 and a half acres. And the lot in question is, there are 4 lots down there that were sold off a long time ago off of that big parcel. And between Mike Nason and Nate Holyoke is 20. And we're wondering if you would be willing to relinquish that lot for whatever you want for it and so forth, because we don't have much water access on that end of our property. So if in the future we wanted to do something with that property, we'd like to have immediate access to the water for launching like kayaks and stuff, not boats or anything like that, because it is pretty shallow. It is protected wetlands, most of it, and we don't want to damage any of that. We just want to be able to, people to walk down to the water, you know, and maybe get into a kayak or stand in the shallows and do some fishing or something like that.
So you have waterfront, though, that
Yeah,
with
we've got,
16, there's quite a lot of waterfront.
yeah,
See
we've
on
got
the
a
map.
lot of waterfront, yeah. And we also own 1580, that's lot 13, just about in the middle of Long Pond over there, an acre.
Okay. I think, and I'll let the town manager verify this for me, but if we're going to sell your property, we just can't make a decision here tonight to sell it to you.
No,
think
I
if
just
we're on a
wanted
bid
to,
process, or we have property for sale.
you got to review it and see what you want for it, if you want to do it.
Because there may be other folks that are interested in it also.
Yeah, I asked about it about a year and a half or so ago. I think I was one of the first ones that asked about it. And then I think Nate Holyoke wanted, but then again, I checked with Susan to see if anybody else had, had interest in it, and
And there may not be, but just
Yeah.
to let you know, we got to go through the process.
Yeah.
So.
no, I understand that.
and
I just
from where I
wanted,
stand, I don't see personally any reason why we're hanging on to it.
put it out for
It's another
bid?
tax roll piece that, property that we have that we can't get to unless we go across his property, by what I see.
yeah,
Unless
because,
you're going to let us go across your property.
well,
I'm
we got,
just joking. I'm
what is
joking.
it, Nason Road there, that
Yeah.
access road to
But
the,
that stops.
that stops at the 3 properties
Right.
down, at those 4 properties, but there's, like I said, there's no parking you can have down there. You can't, I don't even think you can build on that, because you gotta be so far from the water,
Yes.
So,
This would be limited if you were interested in bidding. This is limited to people who
Correct.
have abutting property.
But I think we need to make sure we give that opportunity to those folks just to do it that way. So,
I agree with Peter.
I think what we'll do is is that good with everybody? Okay. Anybody else from the public have anything?
I would like to see it preserved as much as possible.
Yep.
And I know Holyoke would probably like to buffer himself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has a seaplane down there, and
He does.
sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning, you do hear him take off.
You can't stop that.
No, I would never ask him to,
No,
because I
that-
actually do.
So what we're going to do, folks, is we'll come
actually
up and
do
we'll put this
enjoy-
out to bid.
Yeah.
And you folks have an opportunity to,
Yeah, Nate's a pretty good guy.
We
I-
sold him some of our property that he needed to come into compliance.
and like I
Yeah.
say,
Okay.
the best thing maybe is have a conversation and figure out the best way to do it before it gets out there. So
Okay, so what do we have to do now? I'm sorry?
we'll put out a public notice that this property will be up for sale. So just pay attention.
Well,
Go to
the
website.
council will have to vote
We'll
on,
make
to
the
make that recommendation.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah,
will
and that would be
we
on
get
the-
notice then that it's up for sale, or?
You'll be notified, because what we'll do is notify the abutters to the lot, because those will be the only people
Mm-hmm.
allowed to bid. That we would not open this up to someone that doesn't, because they would have access issues
You have
in the
Troy.
same way we did the Jameson.
So we'll figure out who those folks
Yeah.
are. We'll notify everybody and
No.
we'll go through that process.
Troy
You
Sheehan's
have
one of them.
Troy, you have Michael, which is his grandparents' home, and then you got Holyoke. So
Yeah,
those
but
are
Troy
3,
doesn't
and
abut
then
it.
us. Pardon?
Troy doesn't abut that
But
property.
they're still there, so.
But we'll figure out who that is and we'll notify
Yeah,
everybody and
sounds
have the
good.
process.
Yeah, will we get an email or something like that, or?
Town manager will let you know.
You will. I've got your contact information,
Okay.
and because you've sent me this
Mm-hmm,
email, but we'll send you a
great.
snail mail.
Now, are you year-round, or are you,
I'm year-round, then I
Okay.
come and go.
Yeah,
but,
I'm
he's-
most of the time in Florida because
Right.
I have my contracting business
Sure.
down there, so.
Yep. Nice.
But, no, we love it up here. We've been up here since 2006 when we bought that first property. And every time we drove past Klein's property to go to ours, I looked down there and said, man, that's a beautiful place. I says, if that ever comes up for sale.
And then she offered it to us, so.
And then sadly, her husband passed away, and we found out before she even listed it that she was going to sell it. And we got in touch with her. So.
Let's get
Very
on
nice.
to the rest of
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for considering.
Yep.
All right, the next item is drainage information, Woodland Heights, Forest Hills, and Main Street. Susan?
Some time ago, the council responded or provided funding to hire Oliver Engineering to look at these 3 areas that had drainage related issues. And if you go through them, you see that we'll start with the easy one. The Central Street, which is the behind Main Street one, the issues that those businesses are experiencing could be solved by the construction of the Nason property parking lot and installation of drainage that redirects that water to an existing drainage that already exists over either onto Central Street or over in the other direction on the other side, because there are places that could be connected in either way. That addresses several issues. One is space for employees of downtown businesses to park that are off Main Street to allow customers to have those spaces. But the bigger thing it does is address drainage problems that are experienced by
Several businesses.
a number of businesses, including the old flower shop, which has had a great deal of difficulty in selling because of the water that's not generated on its own property but arrives there from others. And it might not have been so bad before the Nason property was torn down, but now it is. But that, what you see is an estimate of what it would cost to fix the problem, and that's the construction of that parking lot, which builds it up slightly in the front, angles it toward one corner or the other, depending on which one is easiest to tie into the existing drain system and then move that forward. So that is that one, and I will say that Rich has had several entities interested in that flower shop property, and they've all asked what the status of this, you know, what are we going to do with the drainage. That's correct, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
So that parking lot that's proposed would tie into the other one,
Yes.
the other lot that we have there, correct, up at the top?
It would, correct. It would be all
And that would
one.
be the only, it'd be what, a two-car wide exit or something?
In and out?
It wouldn't be the whole length of the parking lot, correct? It would just be the entrance at the top.
I think it depends on what
Yeah,
the
that's
what
what
the
this
plan
is.
is.
That's
yeah.
what this is,
that's-
Yeah.
That's
And
right
then the
below
two
you?
drainages would come out towards Central.
Is that right below you?
No, it's the church between me, but the
Oh,
only thing
okay.
I'd add to this is I think we should look at a way to put the sidewalk on Central Street to go further up, because a lot of people walk up there, and right now there's just an island.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna redo the parking lot, it would be the right time to.
No, is this the 100?
Yeah.
Where would that come from?
What's that?
That amount?
That you would take it from your highway maintenance reserve if you wanted to.
Money there?
There's a lot there. In the past, you've used TIF money, you've used highway reserve money. There's some in parking lots, but not sufficient for.
Does water
This
affect
entire-
every business there, Rich, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings that are there?
The building where
McLeod's, does he get affected by water?
no,
Okay.
Bookstats gets it really bad. I talked to Andy today. He got it 2 days ago during that rainstorm. The flower shop, and they've replaced the sills on that. The sills have been replaced since we first brought this up, and as well as the brick building.
Sharon didn't get it bad, I was in there.
Yeah,
In between the parking lot?
yeah, those are the three that are designated.
In Austin, right? They-
In
Austin.
Austin, yes, Austin's the other one. Those are the four. Those are the
That's
four
a no-brainer.
impacted.
We gotta do that. That's our property that's affecting other people's property.
It is, and with the cost
And
of
that
the
is-
flower shop coming down, the interest in that building has skyrocketed.
Wow, and the amount of parking it adds. I mean, if that's a true, I mean, that's,
Well, we already own it, so we might as well
yeah,
utilize it.
right now it's a dead law, let's make it usable. Me, personally, but
This has been going on for what, 25 years? At least.
about time to fix it.
About time.
Well, you know, I mean,
Well, if we want to stabilize the ability for these businesses to remain
right.
in business without the water
Cost.
issue, then this is the way to take care of the stormwater issue that's
So-
impacting.
That would do away with that road going up in between the two buildings then, or is that still going to remain as his access?
Between Austin and, that's a
Flower
right of way
shop.
behind those buildings between Austin and,
But that won't get you into the parking lot, correct? Or is that?
That will
Not in
not
that
go
plan.
into the
Right,
parking lot.
The parking lot's
No.
only access through Central Street?
correct.
That's correct.
I believe they've asked for it to be bouldered off, and that's what's there right now. The fence that used to be there is out,
Right,
and the businesses have said that helped this winter, when the snow was plowed, that they didn't get that onslaught as when the fence was there.
Yeah.
And then the rainy season came, so that's helped, but I
guess
think
that's-
this will
That's
help.
the other thing is, looking at these extra 25 spots, that snow's got to go someplace that doesn't go now.
Right.
I'd like to hear from Jay what his thoughts are on plowing that, because, whether it's a backhoe going in or a front-end loader rather going and taking it out, everything, there's no place to put it there.
Can you put it on the back side of it? What's back?
I don't know, I'd let Jay.
I don't know, well, right
towards-
now, that parking lot that currently exists between McLeod's and the church, you get odd number parking one day and even on the other day, so I believe that's how they're handling that situation now. You'll have to relook at how you want to handle it when the parking lot's combined.
So if we were to say, yeah, let's do it, it'd go on next agenda.
Well, I think we need to have some more looking at it. I'm not ready to spend $100,000 on it.
You would need to take a look at, certainly
Let's
Whether
let
it's-
them do it, right?
it's, whether or not to move forward depends on how quickly or if at all you want to address the drainage issues that these businesses on Main Street are having as a result of the water coming down
Are
from the back of
those
that.
separate things, or is it all have to be one package?
This
Do you
is,
have to do the parking lot in order to do the drainage, or can you just fix the drainage without the parking lot?
There's no drainage right now.
No, I'm saying
Oh.
fix the drainage issue.
that you have to create something, a way for the water to go somewhere, and pavement directs that in a way that just putting in a
Catch basin.
manhole without or catch basin without the ability for it to have been collected and directed you would have to build the kind of things that direct that anyway to move the water where you want it to go.
Yeah, because it would divert it away from where it's currently going now. I believe the access routes would be out through the parking lot.
Either
and
through
Central.
the parking lot towards Central Street
Central
or
Street.
there's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
drain on the other side of.
Drainage would be at the bottom of the parking lot.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so we've got that idea. We've got 3 other places on here. We've got a bunch of people I
Yep.
think here talking about it. We've got
Absolutely.
10 minutes.
This is just this is one. The second one was Forest Hills. There was concern about 10 Forest Hills in particular, and they did an evaluation of the drainage system that serves it, the outfalls and where that goes to the detention pond. You can look at all of and their recommendation that the detention pond is overgrown. The school is the one that maintains that and would be notified that they need to, but all of the systems that feed it, culverts and otherwise, have been inspected by our crew, and they're not blocked or causing an issue. What this report says is that there do not appear to be any apparent town-related issues that have caused this. Road surface water uphill is being collected away from the property, and that groundwater could be the cause of the issues, in factors such as blocked foundation drains related to the home itself that could be increasing water in it. But they didn't find evidence that water collected by the town and directed by it was the cause of it.
But they did recommend that we should clean up that detention
The
pond.
detention pond, they recommended, Jay and I met with the engineer, recommended that we inspect all of the culvert systems and we did that, and that to make sure there were no obstructions, and there weren't, and that the detention pond should be maintained by removing the larger vegetation from that in order for it to move more quickly
Is the
into and
homeowner
through
that's
it.
affected by this here?
I believe so,
Oh.
right there.
Oh. Did you hear all, did you get a copy of this yet already?
Yeah.
You did, okay.
Yeah. You need me to state name and
What's that?
name and rank and so
Yeah.
forth. My name is Doug Merrill. My wife and I bought 10 Forest Hill back in April, and the concern came up originally before we bought the property, and we saw before we bought the property that during the wintertime, that because of the lack of drainage on through the detention pond, that water had, during some of these big rainstorms that had occurred back in February, March, and so forth, had frozen and come across even the road. It outflowed from the detention pond across Forest Hill towards our property, or what is now our property. What happens, I think, is that the sump in our basement empties into the ditch that, I think it's ditch number 2 that's identified in the letter. And because the water had come across back through the culvert, which is supposed to drain the other direction, the sump was fighting against the water that was there and was not able to evacuate water that had been in the basement at that point. I took several pictures, and obviously, Susan, you've seen what it looks like, and I know your dad was up there as well. And it's a deciduous jungle is really like the only way I can describe it. I think clearing the detention pond will absolutely address the issue.
Okay.
We're handling things on our perspective by putting in a backup sump pump, so that and routing it in a different manner and so forth. But as far as that goes, if it can be addressed so that the overgrowth is taken care of, I think that's going to resolve the issue.
Okay, I think we're on that, so I think.
Yeah, that's the recommendation,
Yeah,
is
that's
that
what
they take care of that overgrowth so that the water moves more freely through the detention.
Back it up, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any idea when something like that's going to happen?
Well, I'm notifying the council and everyone tonight, and I'm sure that we'll be
I
in
bet-
touch
I bet-
with the
I bet it's sooner than
superintendent.
later.
Good enough.
All right?
All right,
Yeah.
Doug.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's the school's detention
Oh,
pond.
so they, oh.
And in their defense, I don't think that anyone's asked them to
Right.
maintain it in a different manner than it's been maintained since that. And until we started looking at what could be the cause of it, and exactly what he's just described, which is water backing up into that
Right.
from the detention, pond getting higher than his.
So we are gonna work on it. We got it.
So yes, that's that
All right.
one.
Woodland Heights,
Woodland Heights.
can we do this in 2 or 3 minutes, or?
I'm
Well,
rushing.
I'm asking, are there folks here for Woodland Heights?
I don't
Because
think
if we can
so.
push that off, I know we've got 2 other things that I'd like to get to on this committee.
If no one else is here from Woodland Heights, we can do that next. And we've started to address
Correct.
some of those things
Correct.
anyways.
Correct. So, sign update real quick.
That's Jeff's. No, this was the sign that Jeff was talking about.
Oh,
at
this
the
wasn't
other
the sign
end.
out to-
No,
up to
that's
the-
all, that's already done.
Oh,
That one's-
disregard that.
That one's done. We
Okay.
can, the safety committee recommendations, the sign update, and Woodland Heights, we can put on the next agenda if you want to.
Is that okay with you, Chief? Yeah. You had some great recommendations, though, I did look at it.
Okay, we have,
Okay. So
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
we have 2 minutes for the mayor to get up here and